Hello, welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me? That will be my first question. Can you hear me? Crispy Critter, how are you? Blade Ogre, the Knife Inquisitor, Mr. Yay, how are you? Can you guys hear me? Yes. Yes. Nice. Nice. Well, how is everybody? Hopefully my audio is working. Blade Ogre, thank you, sir. Mike Yay, the Knife Inquisitor, the budget guy, FKT. Awesome, awesome. Welcome, everybody. I hope y'all had a great week. We have made it through the week. It is Friday. Thank goodness. And I'm on the cusp of an actual long weekend, which hopefully some of you are as well. Brand new American, how are you? I don't know if I've said hey yet. Guys, keep in mind, I'm new at this. I'm trying to monitor the chat over here in the chat window. And I just see that brand new American and the Knife Inquisitor threw a howdy out there. Guys, I'm doing fantastic. It is Friday. We're on the weekend. Everything is good. Let me pull some of our community members in. Let me see if Mr. Dark Gravity is going to come join us here.
What?
Howdy, sir.
Morning, sunshine.
How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Doing great. Just started to chat with some of these people out here and saying hello. John Pauly, good to see you. Matthew Sawinski, what is up? Dark Gravity, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, y'all, just so you know. I got to work on my dual setup.
I'll try to read it to you. I've enjoyed your posts, though, the last few days. Hope you guys are following Dark Gravity EDC on Instagram if you guys are on Instagram. But he not only posts really cool knife content, he's posted some really, what I would consider, what would you call it, lifestyle inspired content?
Yeah, I guess that's what you call it. I mean, I'm a blue collar worker. I work in a steel mill. And so work clothes are what I wear all the time, and it's what I've worn my whole life. And what I've started doing, well, I've done it for years, but I've just gotten a little more serious about it because I've learned some things. I've started wearing more vintage style stuff that's based off the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that time frame.
Just because I like it. Stuff.
Yeah, I just like the look. I like the materials they used back then. It's for me, it's kind of, and I know it's going to sound strange to some, but my knife addiction, and my journey and through this other avenue are very similar. It's about material. It's about craftsmanship. Like the shirt that I posted just a little while ago, a couple hours ago, or whatever it was. That shirt's handmade in the United States from U.S. grown and U.S. made cotton. I mean denim. The denim was made at a place in Vidalia, Louisiana. The cotton is grown all across the South. And the shirt was put together, I think, in Ohio. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Chinese, whether it's Kaiser or Riot or Wee or any of those, because I have all of those. But just like with the knives, I love Riot because they make some of the highest quality knives you can get. And it doesn't matter where they come from. It's about the quality. It's about the materials. I love Tucson, despite some questions with, every knife company's heat treat and every knife company's price points and things of that nature. They offer you a lot of knife for the money. You know, you can get titanium and carbon fiber and, you know, a decent steel. May not be the greatest heat treat, but for me, it's still a good bang for your buck deal to get a Tucson. But you could also pay for, like what I carried today that I posted in my pocket dump, a Walter Wells custom. It's not expensive. It's nothing extravagant. It's one guy in his garage. I want to say in North Carolina.
Yeah.
About 100%.
The Carolina is one of the two.
Yeah, but right. And it's made with M2 tool steel that's heat treated by Peter's Heat Treat. It's a great little knife and very reasonably priced for what you get, in my opinion. Right. I love the little knife. And, it's just trying to get, quality, trying to get the most for your money, and things that last. That's the thing is every one of us knows it in the knife community. We may be in denial, but we know it, that we've got way more knives than 1,000 people need for their lifetime, because we're always chasing that, whether it's a look or, a steel. Ooh, I don't have that steel. I need it. That's the reason when I saw that Walter was offering M2 tool steel, I jumped on it, because that's something that I'm willing to bet you most of the people in the chat don't have that on a knife. They may have M4, but they don't have M2. So I got something different, and it's that chasing those unicorns.
Yeah. Well, again, I think a lot of it too is I appreciate what I learn every week, every day from all you guys is not only what knives are worthy of my interest, but what knives they wouldn't even be on my radar if I didn't hear about them from you guys. And that's why when I saw what Dark Gravity was doing with what I consider lifestyle type stuff, cool clothes for the lack of a better term, and I like the way you say blue collar work clothes, where you've gone back and you've looked at the history behind the garment and stay true to that where you can. I think that's cool. And the more people that know, the more people will definitely buy into it. I think it's just a natural.
Yeah. And just, of course I was talking about the shirt that I bought. A lot of the stuff that you buy that's based off of stuff from that time frame is actually made in Japan. So it's not even American made stuff. It's most of it is made actually. The Japanese love American history when it comes to clothing and American style. You walk through Tokyo and you see people that look like Elvis. Of course, they're Japanese, but they got their hair done. They got the clothes done, and you see people that look like other entertainers, and a lot of them, they dress like old mobsters, from the 20s. The Japanese culture when it, in world industry, when it comes to that, it's just really interesting. But they love American history when it comes to clothing. And so a lot of the stuff and that's the reason I was saying it doesn't have to always be made in America. It's nice, but a lot of the stuff that I get is made in Japan. Right.
But just to know that it exists is what I think is cool, because it's where I'm in marketing as a profession, but it's on Instagram and it's on groups like this where I'm more influenced. I hate to use the word influencer. Hey, Marco, how are you, brother? But Honey Bear, how are you? Stephen Wallace, Joe Isabel, I see all you guys. But yeah, it's one of those things that we're all going to be influenced by different things that we see that catch our eye, right? So I think that any time that there's something that is of interest to me, I would think it'd be of interest to people and it's worth sharing out. That's why I bring it up to you jokingly, Dark Gravity, that you ought to start a channel that gets into that, because again, there's so many people that don't think about it, but once they see it, see the look, think, oh, that is the look I've been going after. Maybe there's some ways I could do that strategically where I'm putting the money in the right places and I'm buying quality products more than anything else, not just buying a look because it's a marketed look.
Well, where I've actually thought about it, and it's going to sound funny, of doing a channel is most of the stuff is designed for people your size, not my size. Because most Asians are your size, and then most of the people in the 50s and 60s were closer to your size than they were my size. Us Americans have gotten a little big boned in this millennium. Most of the stuff is designed for people that weigh 140, 150 pounds and are 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", something like that. Like in some of the stuff, I would never be able to even remotely try wearing because I would need like a 7 or an 8X.
Well, that's the point, though. You can show the things that you just happen to be showing, that you've shown lately, that are looks that a lot of people could probably think, I didn't know that was available, or that is a cool look. Because I think being American size is a good thing. I don't think of it as a necessary what would be the term that we wouldn't want to use, but I don't think it's necessarily a sign of gluttony. I think it can be a sign of hard work. It can be a sign of what, had our forefathers lived more longer, productive lives, they would have turned out to be people like Dark Gravity that are like him in their stature and their ability to consume products that I would want to know were out there. Because when it comes down to it, guys, it's all about it's the truth.
Oh, Lowe's over here making fun of you already.
I'm not making fun. I just said you're being so philosophical.
I am not philosophical. It's the way my brain works, Lo. You know that it's one of my big
philosophical brain.
It's called ADHD. It's uncontrollable.
But this is supposed to be a knife talk. So what you want to talk about knives?
Oh, I was just easing into, because it's like you said, it is so much the same. I mean, whether we're talking about knives, and I don't know if you guys saw my review of this after I'd seen everything that had come up about the raccoon and the fact that it has lock failure, and some of the specimens that have gotten out there, specifically metal complexes, which I totally understand, and somebody else's did not perform well and was what they would call a chronic failure. So I thought maybe I missed something. But if you can hear this, that's me. I would never spine whack my stuff. That was me actually hitting. That was more painful than a spine whack, what I just whacked it on. But my point was, there's a lot of misinformation out there that, yes, they're bad knives that come out. And when they're two back to back that two reviewers see, it makes sense that it could be a problem that Volstead's having with their raccoons. And I'm sure they've looked into it. But my particular specimen, which came out of, I would assume, the exact same lot that came out, has none of those issues. I mean, it's still, I would say, one of the top budget button locks that I've held or that I've seen either last year or going on this year, even though we're early on this year.
Oh, thinking about that and talking about that, one of the things, button locks are really hard to do. That's why it took so long, and it took a company like ProTech to really make them and to make them viable and to give probably the blueprint that other people started stealing their system off of. Because, I mean, it's very difficult to do, apparently, or folks would have done a long time ago with autos, because you've had push button autos since Charles Ox invented what's his name? I want to say the guy's last name that he was partners with was named Warner or Werner or something of that nature, or Werner, because I think he was German. They invented the push button auto back in late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember exactly when. It's been basically, though, it's been around for forever. And I'm not saying it was the first just button lock, but the first one I really remember was a Mordax. That was a quality piece that was, consistently open, closed, stayed, open like it was supposed to, and things of that nature. And then also, how many did Bossteed produce? If they produce 100,000 knives or 1,000 knives, or you're going to have the law of failures, especially on something that's new to them, and known to be a difficult build. As long as they fix it, that's the kicker.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate thing, though, with so much we buy now is bought over the internet, and I think we talked about it last week. To me, case knives are still good knives, but it's not an internet buy. I've got to go to the store if I'm buying a case knife.
Right.
And unfortunately with Bossteed, I don't know of a local dealer for Bossteed. And so you don't have a choice but to buy on the internet. And then you kind of depend on the reviewers. And so that's where they definitely got to, be on their game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I really think because the history of huh?
I'm just saying good evening to Dan Brock and to Iggy, people that I'm seeing slip in.
And I think spine whacking is not a standard procedure for any knife maker, I don't think. And I've said it before in chats, I have never used my knife backwards. And so there's some that I've seen are very easy to fail, like the CJRB RIA. That is a pure lock geometry issue. And it happens from time to time when the tooling wears down, or it could just be bad makes. I don't know. I just like to give benefit of the doubt when I can. But like I said, to me, a lot of times is the maker trying to find a solution. Don't just write somebody off as horrible, or write a knife off because two out of dozens, got a couple of bad knives out there. Really sucks that it's reviewers that got them.
Yeah.
Because especially somebody like MC, because that's a huge voice. And if he likes the knife in every way, but it's dangerous, at least his model, it's like the whole deal that happened with Jared Neves and that knife you wanted from Blade HQ. And they pulled it down and jacked the price up and put it back up. Their influence carries weight.
Yeah.
And so
and I totally give credit where credit's due. And I mean, it makes me even think, going through my own collection the way that I do. I mean, I don't check spine whacking everything. I know that my Vandal, which is a fantastic knife, and I would never use it that way, I know it has a temperamental lock. Lee told me that from Love Them Knives. It's the size of the blade. There are a lot of mechanics that go into that. But again, for being a safe lock, to me, knowing that and sharing that with people, it's kind of like, everything's not going to be as we'd love for it to be. But as long as we're not told that it's great, or there are limitations to what at least we're able to perceive, that's the best that anybody, I think, with a camera that likes knives can do. Is talk about what they like and share what they see.
Yeah, and it's being able to get an overall picture is the hard thing, though, because you got so many like me that have played with the thought, maybe more than others, because I've stepped into live videos like this, but you really can't build a picture of any knife beyond the handful of reviewers you might be willing to trust. Now,
Right.
there's some like me and you that probably watch more reviewers than others because, I mean, it has to be. And the reason I say it has to be is Metal Complex has a couple 100,000 followers. Jared has a couple 100,000 followers. When you have people like that with a couple 100,000 followers, you know there's a lot of people out there that watch knife content. But obviously they don't watch everybody's content.
True.
Because most of the channels, I would say, are sub 20,000. I don't know. I don't pay attention to what each channel I watch, what the subscriber content is, but I would say most of them are under 20,000. And as far as the chats, I mean, I lurk in a lot of chats, and it's always the same people.
Right.
It's just a few dozen of us that seem to all. Well, obviously, with some of them, you'll have 100 or 200 viewers, so there's more there. And they just don't talk. They do like me and just listen. But there's some that, you'll have 1,000 viewers in an MC or Neves live.
Right.
And, there's obviously a lot of people that are into knives, maybe even at the same level that we are. They just don't participate in this kind of a knife community. Because I know there are other knife communities out there.
Sure.
On YouTube, because I've stumbled across some of the other content creators over the years. And you go into their lives, and it's a completely different set of people. You might recognize one name out of 50 names running through the chat. There's one that I watch every now and then, and the only person I recognize the name of is Tree Stabbing Troy. And then there's another one that I see Michael Morgan in every now and then. And I mean, I see nobody else, no other recognizable names. And it'll be chat after chat, just like the chats that we're in. And so being able to see everything would be nice, but I don't think it's realistic, because you'll never get all of us to put our experience on YouTube.
Yeah.
We won't even put it on Instagram, much less YouTube.
That's true. And it makes, I think we are probably, thankfully so, the minority in people. And I think, a lot of times we give a hard time to the companies that are larger companies that really appeal to the masses. But the bottom line is they've done the research and they know who the masses are. They know who their market is. And we shouldn't judge, the people that are coming into the community, however they're coming into it. They're using tools the way, we started, at least before they became more than just tools to us. That's the bottom line, right? So they're hitting somebody right.
Well, I mean, if you just go, I don't know how many, I work with about 150 people, and nearly every single one of them carries a pocket knife. But there's two other guys that I work with that are into knives. And one of them, he only got into knives, I think, partly because of my influence. Because when we first started working together, we would talk about guns. We would talk about, just different guy things like that, guy shit. And I always had knives. And of course he had knives too, because he loves to hunt. But he'd use like an outdoor edge, which there's nothing wrong with the outdoor edge skinning system. Knives, they're actually really good. It's a really good setup. He'd use I forgot what it is, the old big buck knife.
Right.
Hunting with the black handle, the black ebony handle.
Yeah.
He would use he carried things of that nature. But he liked the knives that I carried. And so now he's gotten into knives, and he's almost at your level of just buying stuff.
I've toned it way back. I've tried to tone it way back. That's my my plan for 2023. So far, so good.
But everybody else carries a knife, but I mean, they know Case, they know Benchmade, they know Spyderco, they know Kershaw and Gerber, and they carry random mixes of those kind of knives. They don't carry, they've never even heard of Riot or Wee or Civivi, much less most of your custom makers, much less a Strider or Hinderer or Brian Brown. They'd be like, who's that? What does he do?
Right.
For them, it's a tool. Like you said, it's something that they, me and you are in the South. So for them, it's something their daddy carried. It's something their granddaddy carried. And a lot of them carry Case or Buck traditionals for that very reason, because their daddy carried a Case or their daddy carried a Buck. So they carry that. That's one of the guys I work with. He carries buffalo horn, Case, copper head, because his father-in-law gave it to him on his wedding day. His wife's dad is who gave it to him, and that's why he carries it, and that's the only knife he'll carry.
Sure.
And that's just a lot of men in the area where we live at. They carry a pocket knife, but they don't care otherwise. It serves a purpose, and that's it. And so all those other knives are targeted towards me and you. And they know that most of the knife community is somewhere between me and you and them. So the heat treat don't matter. The perfect fit and finish, the buttery smooth action is basically irrelevant. Most of the people I work with, they love an assisted opening knife.
Yeah.
Greatest thing in the world.
And I do a kind of a throwback Thursday thing that I've started to go back and look at my older, early Ken Onion speed assist, and they worked because they were effective. They were effective at what they're doing. They were assisting between the switchblade and a manual opener, where I guess it was too much of an engineering or too cost prohibitive in the masses for the masses to have access to it. Where when people like Kershaw made it accessible to everybody through, I think it wasn't Walmart, but I'm thinking when I got early into the game, it was A.G. Russell, I want to say, is where I started buying knives. And it was on the internet before there was an internet. I mean, we used to call and they'd send us knives.
Yeah, I remember that. You could A.G. Russell.
AJ, that's exactly it. And they're in Arkansas.
And then Smoky Mountain Knife Works, you could get a catalog. There was a couple others you could get catalogs from, but yeah, you had to call and order over the phone, give them your credit card over the phone to order knives.
And that's the way we got knives, unless you went to your local hunting store, your local tackle store, and then you were just, I guess they're distributors that have always been around. Your Benchmades, your Spydercos. But those small guys, I guess social media has really made their ability to compete a lot easier, or level the field for them in a lot of ways.
I think being just a sole knife retailer is, without the internet, is almost impossible. To be a brick and mortar knife retailer is, I just think, something you can't do. Even as when I think back to when I was a kid, there were no, like, you could go to Sears, or you could go to Western Auto, or you could go to your other local hardware stores and you could pick up a pocket knife, or a fixed blade knife. But there was no they didn't just sell knives. They usually had a couple of display cases with 4 or 5 knives in each one, and that was your choices.
Yeah, that's the way
definitely
that's the
wasn't
way I
like today.
always was exposed to knives. And there was that one place at the mall that I can remember that had both I hate to say it, but similar to what St. Nick's at the Huntsville Mall has a representation of now, where they've got both, and this used to be a totally different company way back in the 70s, 80s, but they would have a lot of the fantasy type cutlery, but then they'd also have the Benchmades, the Microtech I can remember seeing early on, but very few. A lot of the makers that I've become familiar with has all been because of YouTube and the community and knife shows, and
That store was called Oriental Way.
it's exactly what it was called.
I remember the store.
I used to buy throwing stars in there.
Oh yeah, that's where I got my ninja sword. That's where I got my throwing stars. That's where I got my ninja outfit when I was a kid.
See, we come by it honestly.
But and then after Oriental Way closed, another store come in there called Mark's Imports.
Yeah.
And it was down by JCPenney. And Oriental Way was down by the food court.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, that's it may just be we grew up in the 80s thing, because I mean ninjas were every movie, and so you had swords and knives and ninja stars and Rambo and Commando and all that, so it was just inundated with
right. And that's how
big
it was marketed to us in magazines and things like that, if you think about it. Gone around, I assume you're in Arkansas if you live close to Russell, because the only place I can remember is going, I forget what interstate, going to see my ex-wife's parents, but we would go right by it on the interstate, and you'd see a big, like, L of a building that would kind of jut out.
Yeah, I didn't never know. I mean, I bought knives from A.G. Russell, but I never paid attention to where they were from. The only reason I knew where Smoky Mountain Knife Works was from is because we would go to Gatlinburg sometimes, and as a family, because it's not that far away, and you'd always drive by it on your way into Gatlinburg, and that's what got me on Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Yeah, I didn't find them until after I'd found the community. But again, guys, I came back into it like with a vengeance right around the time COVID started. I mean, that's when YouTube was kind of something I'd not even really consumed. I'd always, had and looked for a form of content with short form content or podcasts in long form content, which is kind of ironic. Has totally changed the way I consume any type of content. And that's why I'm very influenceable, but at the same time, I only gravitated because everything I choose to watch is prime time to me. So I started seeking out, and I try to go back to what was that original catalyst. I think the first knife that I bought when I was back into knives was a CEO from CRKT that I probably got from watching Ben Peterson. And who was on with Ben way back? This would have been way back, Blade HQ. This would have been 2020, 2019.
I know his name, but I can't.
But that was the first purchase, because I've got a spreadsheet that's humiliating, but I do have a spreadsheet, and I think that's the first knife, and I've since gifted it on, and we will do a giveaway tonight, guys. I just never put that in the title, but we'll always have something to give away to people in the chat. But yeah, that's when I really got back into it. So meeting you, Dark Gravity, and even A to Z, who might join us, he'd kind of always been a collector as a kid, but collecting slip joints and stuff that his dad had made him kind of fond of. And just from knowing me and some of the channels that I told him to watch, he really accelerated way past the type of knives I look at. It's just weird how it takes its own life for people who kind of find in the hobby what they're looking for. There's a lot of different roads you can go down.
Yeah, well, I remember at John's store over in Huntsville, I met an older gentleman there one day, and only God knows what he did for a living, because he bought case pocket knives by the display case. And that's all he did. He'd just go in there, and every year when Case would put out their catalog, and he knew, throughout the year Case may put out new stuff, he would go in there and get John to order both the display case and all the knives that went in the display case for that model, that handle material, because that's the way Case usually does their releases, is by handle material. They'll do certain models in this color bone, or this color micarta, or this color, mammoth ivory, or something of that nature. And he would go in there and just order the display case for it.
Gosh.
With the knives in it. And that's just, there's people that collect nothing but GEC. There's people that collect nothing but Spydercos. There's people that collect all, that collect Essies. There's a Essie collectors community, and they actually go by the serial number on the knife to determine how old it is. And of course, a lower number means older knife, means it's worth more in the community. There's all kind of collectors, and that's something that sometimes in my time as in the community, that I've seen things that discourage me from time to time, and it's when people hate on collectors of other things, because I've seen both sides of people hating on people who collect $50 knives, just say as a number, and I've seen people hate on collectors of higher end knives, $200, $300 knives, or people who collect really high end stuff, like Dirk Warning. He collects really high end nice stuff, and that's about all he collects. I think he will buy and review and check out other stuff, but as far as, he loves custom knives, and it's okay. But I've seen where people will hate on guys like him, just using him as an example. A to Z, you could make the same argument, because most of the knives they collect are, say $300 plus, or in the case of Dirk Warning or Spirited Whiskey, they may be $2,000 plus.
Right.
But a lot of times those guys that have those $2,000 knives, they only have 4 or 5 knives. So your collection of $50 knives may be worth as much as their collection of $2,000 knives, because they've got 4 or 5 where you got 400 or 500.
Right.
It's different, but I wish I could afford that. Well, you could if you didn't have 50 Civivis.
Yeah. Well, and there is a place where, and I don't know where that is, and I guess the market could change at any given time, because you think that you can always get around what you put into a hinderer, or it's going to bring close to table price, or you would hope that a lot of these customs that have a more limited number, that you'll always be able to get table price, I would think, as long as you don't.
That's really the only benefit to the higher end market, because for me, and the reason I say for me is I can't physically feel, unless it's really bad, I can't physically feel the difference between a Riot and a Civivi. I really can't. I can't feel that there's blade play in the Civivi. The bearings don't feel better. In fact, the only knife I've ever had problems with the bearings was a Riot, where I had to order some skiffs because I don't know if it was trash got in it and messed up the bearings or the bearings were just bad. But it got that way within a few days of me getting the knife. Like I said, I don't know packing debris, pocket debris, but I've never had that happen with any other knife, and I got a lot of bearing knives.
Yeah.
I can't physically tell you the difference as far as the feel, the cutting ability, because I can get a hollow ground Civivi, I can get a hollow ground, and as much as I cut, I can't tell you difference in edge holding ability or any of that. It's the fact that I know I think every Riot I have, I could get what I paid for it or more.
Right.
And if I put it up for sale, but the lower end Kaisers and Civivis and Concepts that I have, I don't, because they make so many of them.
Right. Well, those are just they're good to pay forward, but hindsight being 2020, I wish I didn't have cases full of them, even though they all meant something to me on my journey to get to where I'm going, which God knows where that is.
I mean, I bought those knives post expensive knives. I bought them because I like the design. And like that, and to me, that's why I buy them. And that's why you should always buy what you like, not buy the hype.
Right.
Is because if you buy the hype, then you're gonna have to spend a lot of money, and you're gonna lose a lot of money, because you're gonna find that you're buying hype is temporary, and especially with us, especially with knife people, with collectors. I won't say knife people, with collectors in general. Because there's always some shiny new toy to go jump on. And that's just what we do. If we didn't, there wouldn't be a knife community. And so buy what you like, don't buy the hype.
I like it.
My little poetry there.
Buy what you like, don't buy the hype.
Yeah. And I know we're all here because of YouTube influencers and Instagram influencers and stuff like that to some degree. I mean, we like knives, and we get but a lot of what gets us together is these live chats. And we want to, and Shane talked about it today, that a lot of us are influenced by YouTube influencers. I mean, that's why they call them influencers. But what ends up happening a lot of times is you buy something, and then the next week or 2 weeks later, you're off to buy something else. And then you're sitting there with 4 or 5 Apache cases full of knives, and your wife's fixing to beat you with a broom handle. And you're like, how do I justify this? Where you could also take that money and buy nicer stuff, and just buy less of it.
True. And it means more to you. I mean, so much of it. And I missed a lot, and I was hoping Shane is going to join us tonight at some point, because I tuned in late to his live, and that's kind of how he's releasing his videos now, is live when it's on his mind. So I need to go back and watch it. But I missed the whole forward part of what he was getting at. He was trying to, he said, take care, because I called him right after he had gotten finished. I was like, did I miss something? He's like, no, I was just trying to quell any drama that he might have started because they were talking about heat treats on a buck knife or something.
Yeah, Buck released a new 110 with ebony handle and magna cut,
Yeah.
and the Rockwell that they shot for on it, I want to say was 59 to 61. And so a lot of people were upset with it and things of that nature, and then a lot of people don't care.
Right.
And I mean, the Buck 110, because see, I look at the heat treat. When I look at the heat treat, I don't necessarily look at the steel. I look at the design of the knife. And the Buck should be 63, 64 because it's a hollow ground clip point. So it's a very delicate blade. So the only thing you should be doing with that is cutting. Now, if you take, like we talked about last week, if you take a slab of steel like that Benchmade AFO I showed last week, or a Hinderer or an Essie or something like that, because like a lot of people don't realize Essie heat treats their 1095 to like 55 Rockwell, which for 1095 is very soft. But the reason they do that is because they're looking for toughness, not hardness. They want you to be able to sharpen it on a rock in the middle of the jungle, because that's what Randall's Adventure Training does, is they do jungle survival training and woodland survival training. And so their knives are designed for a purpose, and their heat treat is done to that purpose. And that's, so I look at the knife and what the knife is designed for, and the Buck 110 is designed solely to cut stuff. And then he also said, Shane talked about the case. They use some weird names, and I can't remember what it is, but it's one of their new modern folders that Case has put out.
Right,
and
right.
They did their magna cut to the same level. Now, I haven't seen that particular knife. I don't know what its design purpose is for, but I would assume it's probably similar to what the Buck's design purpose is for, because that's what other case knives are for. Case knives are usually very thinly ground or hollow ground with a very pointy tip. So they're designed for cutting, more so than a sharpened pry bar.
Right.
And so when you make a knife designed for cutting with a hollow ground blade or really thin edge geometry that's meant to slice, then you should be going for the optimum heat, getting the most out of the steel. They put those vanadium carbides in there for a reason, and heat treating it to less, a high vanadium carbide, steel to less than 60 Rockwell is just, honestly, it's ridiculous. If it's meant for being slicey. Now, a lot of where they do it, like Hinder uses 20 CV, and I guess he's the biggest culprit with that, when making a folding pry bar or sharpened pry bar made out of 20 CV, and he heat treats it to a lower Rockwell, but that's because it's a sharpened pry bar, and he uses the 20 CV because that's what the knife community demands. The knife community demands for a $400 knife, and I've heard YouTubers say that. I got into a big discussion years ago and I've told you about this, with Metal Complex, because he was reviewing a knife that was S35BN, and I don't forgot the price of it, but he said that for that price, he felt it should be M390. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, M390 is a better steel. I'm like, no, it's not necessarily a better steel. It's just a more height beast steel. S35BN is perfectly fine, and it costs roughly the same as M390. The heat treat doesn't cost any more. The machining costs more for the M390, but not $100 or $200 difference in price that they charge. But a lot of the community feels that they need M390 or 20 CV or now Magna Cut, and so these people are going to pump it out, and most of them are going to do whatever's easy, where they can machine the most, where they can make the most money, because that's all people care about is what's on the label. There's the guy down there I see on the bottom that I need to get me one of those Geck 47s.
Yeah, I'm checking. I want that harvester, I think.
I know I want it. There ain't no thinking to it. I want that GEC 47.
We were just talking about that earlier. I don't mind. I like the micarta one. I think is the one I'm going to get. I haven't seen any of the pictures yet. Do you look at their website at
The
all?
only I don't normally look at their website. I did see it on Instagram, and the only one that I've seen posted on Instagram, and I don't forgot who I got the email about it coming from, but they didn't give a date or time of when the drop is.
Yeah.
They just said that they're en route to their dealers.
Yeah.
The only one I've seen is the green micarta.
It's not green. It's like a dark brown, I think.
Kyle Cooley.
It's natural micarta. So if you look at their website, you can see all the production pictures.
Okay.
And you can see that, like, so they treated it with something like an oil or something, and it darkened it up. It was more of like, your typical what people think of as natural, or that light brown peanut butterish color kind of micarta color. And then whatever they put on it, I'm guessing it's some sort of oil, kind of turned it into a darker brown. They're also doing a wood color one. So the micarta is in the Titiute line, and then the wood one will be a Northfield. So it'll have a different swedge at the top. It won't have the hand-drawn swedge. It will have the cut swedge. And if I had, I do have knives that have differences between them. So this is the camp knife that I have, and I don't know how clearing my screen is right now. Like, I don't know if my picture's blurry or shit. That's a cut swedge where it has like a very defined stopping point right there.
Yeah.
The machine drawn one, I mean. And then the hand drawn one is like on the Barlows, where it's kind of just like a swedge, but it kind of gradually tapers to the start and stop of it. And that's what the Titiute one will have, or has in the picture, and then the other one will have the other kind of swedge on it.
I would have never known that distinction. Today I happened to be looking at Jacob Creates. He dropped some, I forget what kind of knives. They're way out of my price range, but they're a bushcrafter. But there were 3 different distinctions. There was a full flat grind, and then what he called a small flat grind, which looked to me identical until you looked at the very top where the spine was. So the spine of the knife, it had just a little bit of taper there where the full flat was all the way flat. And then he had, which sold out first, which I was surprised. I guess it was half. So it was a half flat is what he called it in the description. And you could just tell that there were 3 different grind patterns that he was offering, which to me, that's all. I'd never been aware of that before. I've been aware that they're complex grinds, but didn't know why.
So this isn't actually the grind of the blade, but just the top portion there where that little swedge is what I'm talking about. But what you're saying sounds like the difference between a full flat and a saber grind. So, I haven't seen the picture, but like it not being a full.
No, it was the way it was set from the spine down. So this wasn't talking about the cutting edge being a saber versus a flat. This was, if you look at the spine of the knife,
there was something different.
Exactly.
Gotcha. But yeah, so far they only show 2, and then they're doing the cotton sampler. I'm not a huge fan of the cotton sampler pattern whatsoever. So I think if I'm going to grab one, it's just going to be the Harvester and probably the micarta one.
And those are double blades, or?
Oh, it's a single bladed knife.
A single blade?
It's essentially very similar to this, but the blade shape has a little bit more of like a hawk bill, but a very slight hawk bill. So it has like, your suede handle, and then the blade will come out, and then it'll have like a little bit of just a littlest bit of a hawk bill at the end there. So not a real, I wouldn't consider it a real hawk bill, and that's why they're calling it a Harvester, I guess.
Yeah.
But very similar.
The real hawk bill would be more like, I think, what they call the pruning.
Yeah. It's a much, more of a beak, kind of look to it. This one barely has just a little bit. But yeah, definitely, check out the their website. It's greateasterncutlery.net, and it
Yeah.
shows them. And then you can see, the wood one in production, and it's kind of cool just to see all the production photos and stuff.
So
And
that's where you go instead of the retail, like the way I've found them and saw what was available, i.e., today, and my limited knowledge was going to traditional pocket knives and looking at what they had under Great Eastern Cutlery. So I guess that's showing me what they've got.
yeah, so when this drops, it'll be gone in a minute.
Yeah.
when they hit go on the website, it's instantly gone. There's very few things that have ever not sold that fast, Great Eastern Cutlery wise. This one will not stick around.
Yeah.
I just go to the website because you can see what they're working on, so you can see what's coming up. You don't get that far. They don't give you like, hey, this is 3 months out. They never do that. They show you what's happening at this exact moment right before they're getting ready to ship it to dealers, and so that way you can kind of pick which handle, or if you want to get them all, whatever. I've done that in the past, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's getting ready to hit in the next couple weeks.
That sounded like Ashley scratching over on the hardwood floor, but she's actually spine whacking my collection. I've given her full freedom to spine whack it at will. So good girl.
That's the first one. That harvester today was the first one I've seen them post on Instagram in a while. That it's coming. That it was headed out to the.
Let me see, because I haven't looked. I think they've been posting.
It just may not be showing up in my feed, but
that's the problem. It's what Instagram decides to actually show you.
Yeah, and it being a knife company, I figure they may be censoring them to some degree.
I don't think it's that. I think also if you interact with things, like, so they had the other two, the Old English. I was not a big fan of the Old English number 39s. It's just kind of blah. It's got a little pin blade, a little spear point blade. It looks almost like they had leftover blades from this pattern and decided to make another knife from it. Like they cut too many blanks or something. And
it's possible.
Decided to keep going with it, because they've done that before. Like, that's how the keychain knife came after the whittler, and it's because they cut too many of the small blades and then decided to make it its own knife. So genius on their part to turn what was the blade from the whittlers. They cut too many of the secondary blades and turned it into a knife that they sold. Retailers were selling for like almost $100.
That's tiny.
Yes,
that's what I knew it was going to be tiny, but to see it next to you in your hands how tiny it actually is crazy.
It's let me pull out the knife that it came from. So,
wow.
Yep, but it's Sandbar Stag. It's also, because it's the first time they ran it, it's got the triple P stamp on it. So
I'm not knocking, because I think to make a small knife,
it's definitely an overpriced for what you're getting. I'm just telling you, like.
Oh no, but I get it. I know it's as expensive to make a little version as it is a big version. In a lot of cases, it's more intricate.
I was going to say, you ask those guys that make them tiny knives that they bring to knife shows. Those tiny knives are a lot harder to make than them big ones.
This is the knife that came out before it.
Okay.
Which is like a seahorse whittler pattern, and I absolutely love this pattern, by the way. So these secondary blades on the back, it's a split back, so it's got two springs that stop and kind of meet into one. So the main blade uses both of the two springs as its spring, and then the other two blades use their individual springs. But yeah, it looks like they made too many of these secondary blades and they turned them into keychain knives.
Like you said, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Smart on them, but at the same time, paring knife. Yeah. The paring knife is a great deal. $45. Depending upon which one version you get, you can get it in stainless, which is the 440C, or the 1095, and made in America. And they didn't actually make a huge amount of those. So that's like one of the things that the fact that they stuck around is pretty impressive for those kind of things.
And those are small fixed blades?
Yes, they're so they did 3 versions of it. They did the ones that I always show you that I have, which were the hunting series with the micarta, and it had a lanyard hole on the end of it. And then they recently redid those as well with different handle materials. And then they did the same blades, but as a steakhouse version. So it just had a different branding and no lanyard hole and burlap micarta, same little fixed blade. And then they did ones in stainless with a white muslin micarta, kind of very light. And those were done in stainless. So, but yeah, technically the same fucking thing, just they call it different, whatever aesthetically, but it's the same fucking knife. Just one, they have the one's stainless and one's not. So, great little knives. Like I said, those are, I don't get really look too much at the small fixed blades, but I do really like those guys. This one, so you can get it with a couple different things, and they just re-released these in a black micarta and something else, and they came and went real fast. So
wow.
But yeah, of the things that they've been putting out since last year and now recently, even this year, since the camp knife, which I think was the last thing I got, this harvester's the next thing that I actually kind of like the way it looks and has my interest, because they've put out some stuff that I just don't want anything to do. I don't like the moose pattern, don't like the other one. So
that one does have your interest coming in. That's one that you're kind of hunting?
I'm not hunting it. I'm just deciding whether or not I want to get it.
Because it'll be that type of, if you decide you'll be able, the availability will be there.
For me, it will be.
That's right.
I'm a lucky person that way. But
if you buy enough of them, you get treated special.
it's not that. I work with a distributor, so
that's even more special.
Yeah, and so then I'm able to say, "Hey, hold one back for me." So that is yes, I'm very lucky that way. Working with them a year or so ago, and yeah, there's also, I've gotten them without that, from other people. You just have to sign up for all the
emails.
Yeah, sign up for all the emails. Sign up. There's some dealers have really crazy shit you have to do to get their knives, like collector knives. You have to use fucking Telegram and sign up for that app. Then he sends you a message. Then you have to go to the website, log in, say you want to reserve it, because they're all pre-sale type situations. And then if you do all that fast enough, then you will be able to purchase it when it comes out.
So he is determining that your want and ability is well there before he releases it to you.
Well, they sell out no matter what. There's never, he doesn't, that's the thing. Even the guy who owns Great Eastern Cutlery says that they're sold out in advance. That company never worries about not selling their product. It's sold before they make it.
So it's just, we've got to make more, or we're just going to continue to be comfortable?
It's a very small American company making things the way they've been done for 100 years, with a little bit of modern advancements recently, but not a whole lot. You can watch a factory tour and watch how these people put this shit together, and you're like, what the hell is this? Everything is 100%, handmade. The only thing, I think now they're getting blades CNC cut out instead of doing the old stamping way.
But that would be what the user wants it that way, right? Or they be doing it quicker. And
Yeah, I mean that's part of like, you know, kind of what you're paying for.
right.
To know that you're getting something that, you know, they bought their equipment from a company, Queen Cutlery. A lot of their equipment came from Queen, and that was an old company that had been around for a long time. They're in the same neighborhood as, you know, Case, and it's just in there up there in Pennsylvania, and it's just a knife making little town area that they all work in. So yeah, it's there's like I think there's probably not even 40 people working there now.
Really? At
Yeah,
GEC?
yeah, yeah, very very small.
Their business structure helps. They produce a high quality product, and they control the availability of that product.
I mean, they work like a uh, this year they haven't been posting as many pictures of the way the production's going, but a year or two ago, you could look at their website every day and kind of see what happened that day. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of what went down today as far as, you know, their production goes and shit. And when you watch it, I mean, they're still, you know, hand hammering shit and, you know, like I said, using old ass equipment to make this stuff, and it's a bunch of old guys in overalls that, you know, look like they've been
But
doing this their whole life.
I think if they increase their production, because the demand's there, they could probably increase their production by 50% or double it. But as they
Well,
got bigger, I think their quality would go down.
Well, that's the thing. You'd have to hire more people, get more equipment, you know, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. And I think it's like, I don't think that they want to, you know, try to push their workers that are there. You know, they work like a Monday through Friday scenario, and
Yep.
they get done what they can get done. And that's
Take
it.
care, Iggy.
I
Well,
mean,
and that's what I don't know if you caught the beginning pocket metal. That's where John's intrigued by my posts of clothing on uh
yeah, I caught
on
part of it, but I was
Instagram.
getting ready to eat dinner. So,
And all the stuff, well, not all the stuff. 'Cause, I mean, I've got a Carhartt jacket on. You know, that's just standard fare stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I've been getting are made literally by a handful of people in somebody's garage. And like a pair of the pants I posted a couple of weeks ago or whatever is made by a handful of people in Los Angeles, California in a garage.
yeah.
You know, and I like that aspect. That's why I like GEC. I like traditionals in general. But GEC just has that extra special intrigue because you know it's not much more than a handful of people in a building, you know, and
Yeah.
everybody's working together to make and it's a quality product.
Yeah.
Right.
They honestly, they also have like a decent enough like warranty servicing and stuff. And something happens, you can send it in and they'll fix it. I'm not saying it's free, but it's not like they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have broke your shit. Like, you know, they're nice people. There's one lady that answers the phone. I've called and talked to her before. I think her name's Mary Ellen or something like that. Or
You're not getting thrown through a voicemail of we don't care.
nope, super nice people. And then something I'd really like to do is they do the GEC rendezvous every year, and you can go there. And the thing about that is not only, you know, you get to meet everyone and see the factory and shit, but they make knives that they only sell very limited numbers for that weekend. And those rendezvous knives are like the rarest fucking things you can get.
Hmm.
They did one a while back, and it was when they were running the whalers, and they made one out of, there was a company. So these knives are designed after a knife that, you know, people that worked on, you know, wooden whaling ships back in the day would have, and they used to cut rope.
I'm gonna make you big for a second.
Sure. So it's got that big blade because it was big enough to actually cut through the rope, and you could, you know, baton through your piece of rope. So they made for the rendezvous, they made one and it had a little whale, uh, you know, shield on there, and the wood was from a company in Pennsylvania where that company back in the day used to be one of the rope manufacturers that I think these shipping companies used or whatever, and so they used the wood from that factory to actually make the covers of the knife, which was pretty badass. So it's like a piece of history that kind of works in there with the actual the pattern.
But that's always done locally there in Pennsylvania, I guess.
Which the whole I mean everything.
When they have their meetup, where you would find those very unique offerings.
Yeah, you go there to the event. Yeah, and another thing that they did a while back was it had a little wrench shield, and that area of Pennsylvania was big into oil production back in the day, and they used to get the oil like primed or whatever was like a piece of wood that they would put down the shaft, and it was called sucker rod. And so GEC had bought a bunch of that old wood that had been used for shit long. I forget like the amount of years that wood would be used to help suck the oil out of the ground. And they made covers out of that. So it was like it's this oil infused, wood that they made their
handles out of.
Yeah, the covers for that particular knife, which was the 86 pattern. So it was like this, but it was a multi-bladed knife and not the Barlow. Yeah, I mean, they try to a lot of times there's like a lot of history involved in the shit that they do. They don't generally ever use things that weren't available, a long time ago as far as covers. That's why you don't see carbon fiber or any of that kind of shit on their knives. That's why it's always done,
period specific, so historically relevant or accurate.
Yeah. So micarta you could get, wood you could get. This type of plastic has been used for a long time, the Delrin shit on knives, and bone and all that kind of stuff that you could get back in the day. And acrylic was a popular material back then. They also used Bakelite, but Bakelite's not very stable, so they don't really use that, but they do use a lot of acrylic for their knives.
Interesting.
I think Bakelite's bad to crack or something like that.
It shrinks.
Okay. I knew it was sensitive.
So if you look at old knives that have Bakelite, since it's pinned in, it usually has like some shrinkage right here or here, and then that may start to crack it because the pins, try to stay in the place and don't move with it. Yeah.
I shouldn't smile when you say shrinkage.
It's not that cold today, so there's not a lot of shrinkage. Not as
much. It's like 20 degrees.
It's only 50. It's like around 50 here. It's not bad at all.
It's like 20 something, maybe 30 degrees right now. Outside.
Why can't I remember Dottie's sister's name?
Lulu.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Lulu is more of a homebody than Dottie is. Dottie, when we walk by her cage, she wants to come out. She jumps up to the side. She wants us to get her out. Lulu will come over and she wants us to pet her inside her home. She's like, "Pet me in here." You go to take her out. She's like, "Oh no." Sometimes she wants to come out on her own. We try to make her do that, but
socialize her.
Yeah, she likes to be inside, and she likes to always know where her sister is. She's very protective of her.
That is awesome.
I'm sitting here trying to click fucking comments like I can do it. It says, "I hate shrinkage." Kyle.
I hate it. Here, let me look so I can do that. I've got my.
He said, "I got body parts made of Bakelite."
Duh.
Now we're gonna get John into traditional someday.
It's
pocket metal.
It's not for some people have claimed that I in the past got upset like that's if you don't like them then I think you're a horrible person. No, it's not that for me. It's just how I started into knives when I was a kid.
Yeah,
had a traditional knife and kind of have just always liked it. More recently, I've gotten into some more modern shit just as like they're basically play toys. You know, I use stuff, but I'm not
But they cut well.
I'm not a cardboard cutter. I got 2 prairie dogs. No need to cut cardboard. The only thing I ever do that's like hard use is like going outside and doing wood stuff for fires and shit like that, or when we go camping when we get a chance to. But outside of that, you know, I might take down a tree with a knife sometimes just because it's fun.
I got some of my favorite mail the other day. My coupon book.
Ah. I was like, what the hell is that? A book of fucking lottery tickets? I didn't know what the hell that was.
No, it allows me with my limited. Let's see how the raccoon cuts.
I can literally count on one hand how many times I've done that with a knife.
You know, I sit with an Amazon box open at my feet while I'm watching live streams, and I will sit here and cut coupon books, and I've got a phone book over here beside Ashley that I'll cut, and I will cut paper constantly. If I'm not sharpening knives or fidgeting with knives, I like cutting. You don't cut?
I used to sit outside and whittle wood into a box, like to sit there and make little feathers into a box to then, you know, have for when we do fires. So I have a little kindling to start fires with.
Well, the quote Ray from Everyday City Carry, feather and sticks. He hopes to go somewhere where he can feather some sticks.
Before I started my YouTube channel, I made a picture, or I don't know if it was a picture or video of me taking a shit on the toilet with a stick and my knife. And I was like, I'm going to do a bathroom bushcraft channel. And I had sent it to some people. I sent it to the Austin from Traditional Pocket Knives and Big Red and Zach and stuff. Because I had, you know, met those guys before I had decided to start doing this shit. But yeah, you know, you don't. The only thing you can't do is live in Arizona where there's no fucking trees. As long as you live somewhere where there's trees. Yeah, I saw that. I don't have fucking kids. I don't have fucking grandkids. I guess I'm kind of old enough to be a grandparent now. Can you be a grandparent at my age? Don't shake your head and look sad at me like that. Listen, but I don't have no fucking kids, so.
Let me tell you something.
I'm a grandfather.
I love my baby, but I also love my furries. And I don't know where Tippy is, but Tippy, I think, is back there with John.
Oh, I'm 46 and a grandfather pocket metal, so if that gives you an idea.
How old you say you are?
46.
Okay. At first, I thought you said 36. I was like, man, I thought you were older than me. yeah. So you're only a couple years older than me.
Yeah.
Y'all are babies.
If I was 36, I'm not aging very well.
That's why I didn't want to say. I don't want to be the one to say it. But everyone talks to me like I'm fucking 80. Like I said, I was at the store one day, and some lady said to me some shit about, oh, you remember the dime store? I'm like, how old do you think I fucking am? The dime store? Holy shit, lady. Oh, fuck.
Your wisdom. It's just because the beard makes you look wise.
Yeah, right? That's.
Now, I can remember 1 cent bubble gum.
I can remember penny caramels, and they were
right?
actually right down the street from where I live now at a store called Ballard Groceries. We would take $1 worth of pennies and get 100 penny caramels.
There's the cheapest I think was Bazooka Joe for 5 cents. I think is what it used to be when I was a kid.
You could get the Bazooka singles for a penny when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? It's 2 years difference. How could that be? I mean, was there a giant price?
It may be where I live versus where you live.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we lived in Florida, so I mean, it wasn't. Where you at?
I'm in Alabama now, but the time I'm talking about
my penny caramels.
So I mean, there shouldn't have been that much of a difference. I wouldn't think.
I would think so, but yeah, it wasn't like some big city area or nothing. It's
Well, now
small town, and
I only remember that for maybe a year or two, and then it went to 3 cents for the same piece of bubble gum.
Inflation.
Yeah. Went up 200% in a couple of years, but you could get a pack of Now or Laters for like 15 cents.
Yeah, that's what, when I was in elementary school, we used to, everyone was a candy salesperson. We'd go to the store and buy those, and then you have your little case and you selling it for like a quarter or something, making your.
Yep. You could buy Jolly Ranchers for like a nickel, and you could sell them at school for a dime.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying, something about the I think someone said something about the powdery chalky gum, and that's what I call the QSP my card on like the penguin, and this is the parrot or whatever. It reminds me of the baseball card gum.
Yeah.
That nasty color, and it comes kind of with that chalky white shit on it.
Yep. I used to actually chew that gum when I was a kid. I would actually chew that gum when I was a kid. When I got a pack of baseball cards.
So did
I love that gum. I can remember, like, for some reason, storing it separately from the cards, and I would like grab 5 or 6 of that sticks and just love on it.
It would break in your mouth.
Someone else said something about garbage pail. Oh, chalky garbage. I thought they were talking about garbage pail kids. I was like, I got some garbage pail kids cards in my office.
My desk in school was covered with garbage pail kid stickers.
Oh, I never peeled them. I never wanted to lose them. I don't have the ones that I had when I was a kid. Somehow I don't know what the fuck happened, but we found a place that was selling like old ones and shit and bought some.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly nowadays. Those things would hurt somebody's feelings and at school, and it would cause somebody to have a complex at school. So you couldn't have garbage pail kids at school anymore.
They brought them back, but they suck. The art's not as good now that Cabbage Patch Kids isn't a thing anymore. I remember I was in elementary school. I think I was in the 3rd grade when those come out, maybe 2nd grade, and I just thought they were cool, and so I stuck them all on my desk. Yeah, I love those things.
Happy Friday, Shimiette. Everybody's telling you howdy.
I didn't even know she was there until he talked to her a minute ago.
She's in the background. She's always keeping the lights on.
We went and grabbed dinner right when you guys started, and so I eat like a fucking pig or something. I don't know. I eat way too fast, and she actually chews her food, so she was still sitting over there eating.
Mike Sawyer, that is the truth, my brother. I went from candy cigarettes to Marlboro Lights. Well, first from what were the menthol? Salem Ultralights for about a month.
I thought they got rid of them, and then I saw candy cigarettes again recently. I was like, man, I can't believe those came back. That was like a big deal when they got rid of those when I was young.
Yeah. And candy cigars and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I still see the candy cigarettes. I haven't seen any bubblegum cigars or candy cigars, but I've seen candy cigarettes at some gas stations.
Yeah, they were. I didn't think you could find them anywhere.
They worried about Joe Camel. They need to worry about them candy cigarettes. Because, like,
yeah, I could do artwork like that, and we had talked about doing some artwork styled like that. But I am still. This is the 3rd week now that I haven't been able to get my fucking hand fixed. So hopefully next week I'll be able to go and have them fix that shit.
Oh, dude, I was not asking, thinking that no news was good news.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's still broken, still sore, still a lump on the side of my hand, and now it's like making my wrist hurt. I tried to draw the other day, and it was painful as shit. So,
did I ask you if they have kratom there or kratom there at the herbal shops?
Yeah, I tried a few different versions of that shit, and it's all over the place. That stuff is, you never know what you're getting.
Well, you want to get a red variety of I would say the powder. I would never get the little liquid extracts or
Oh
anything
yeah, we
like
were getting
that.
the powder. We were getting the powder stuff, but like we tried it like 3 or 4 times a couple years ago, and one time we took it and it was like, woof. Like, because they were talking about like making it illegal up here. I don't know if they were going to make it illegal everywhere. I was like, why would you make this shit illegal? Because the first couple things we tried didn't really do anything that I thought was crazy. And then the last thing that we tried, we were like, oh, fuck. Now I know why they might make this shit illegal. Woof. Like, it definitely was an interesting experience.
Well, luckily they did make it illegal in Alabama, but it is, and if you can Google it and do research on it, and you'll see all kinds of different information about it. But it's similar and related to the coffee plant, and it does have opioid receptor blocking properties, right? So the reason Thailand originally made it illegal is because it was cutting in to the heroin trade, because people were subsidizing their heroin usage with kratom, which was just a weed that was grown around and people were making tea out of it. But if you can find it locally, the only reason I say, because most states passed a law where you cannot make it illegal, and it's legal, for example, in Tennessee and every other state that I know of. But if you find your right dosage, which I would start small, a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, whatever that is. But once you find your sweet spot, people don't take their pain meds anymore. I mean, literally, you can get off of, and more than anything is relieve the pain in your life. Like if your hand's fucking keeping you from working, granted, it's going to have to be fixed and you're going to have to deal with that. But if pain is something that's an issue, kratom is very effective.
I was reading Kyle's comment down at the bottom. It's one of those things. It's like the same thing. People told me the same thing about marijuana for different reasons, whatever. And we smoked it recreationally, off and on, since I was in high school. But fucking, it's never been something that has helped in any of the things that I would have taken it for, to replace, either anxiety or because it causes me more anxiety. So it's definitely not fixing that. And it's definitely like, try different CBDs, try different this, I mean, you could spend fucking years trying to find the shit that's going to work for you. There's so much variety out there. I mean,
everything reacts to everybody differently.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of the people saying, well, do this, do that. It worked for me. Well, I mean, some things work for folks and some things don't. That's why there's so many medicines and herbal remedies out in the world, is because what works for me may not work for you or John or whoever.
Absolutely. And as Josh says, anything can be abused and used in a situation to where it can become deadly, right? I mean, people can drink too much water trying to win a video game for their kid, which is just tragic. But I mean, you can overdo anything.
Yeah, it's and I've never, I don't really take, or even like when I had my knee surgery, I forget what the fuck they gave me. I took it like for 2 days and it was a train wreck. And I just stopped taking the pain medicine after that and just dealt with the pain because it was better than the fucking shit that they gave me as far as making me feel all fucked up.
Right.
So I've never really been a pain medicine person. It's just annoying to have like an aching, kind of stabbing pain in your hand while you're trying to fucking draw.
Well, and that's the whole point, is if you look at any society and why pain meds are such an issue and why they're so likely to be abused, is they're effective at relieving pain. And what you shouldn't be at this stage, 2023, we shouldn't be reserved to, we're going to have to be in pain every day that's just part of my life is it's going to have to suck because my hand hurts or my back hurts. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of it, suck it up and go, but there's also better living through chemistry in some ways. And I hate to oversimplify it, but
Well, there's a lot of things, not for pocket metal situations. I mean, his hand's fucking broke. But for a lot of people with chronic pain, there's treatments for that. But either the person doesn't want to do it because they like the pill effect, or two, the doctor doesn't want to do it because he doesn't make any money if he fixes you or she.
Yeah.
You know, and so you have that's the biggest aspect, I think, because my wife's in the medical field. I grew up, my mom's in the medical field. I've been around it my whole life. And those are the two biggest things I've observed is either the person loves popping the pills and has been offered various forms of pain blocking treatments, but won't do them because they enjoy the pills, or they'll go get the pain block and then just keep taking the pills to stay high. And then there's also the aspect of it, like with pocket metal, I mean, you could give him something for his pain until his hand heals, but he's like me. When I got run over by a car on a motorcycle, the doctor offered me a shot of Demerol and I didn't take it. And I never took any pain medicine from it. You know, I just dealt with the pain because I prefer not to have, I don't like the effects of narcotics. I just don't. And so
that's a blessing.
Have sucked that they've given me. The only thing that was like fucking amazing was they did a nerve block before they did my back surgery. Was it my back surgery or before they did my back surgery. And that shit was fucking awesome. And they did it actually before my knee surgery. And so I had to sit in the back seat after I got knee surgery. Drove back from Seattle. It was like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to our house from Seattle. And I crawled up because we lived on the second flight of stairs. So I crawled doing the boot scoot up my ass to get into the apartment and then plant me on the couch where I could kick my leg up. When that thing wore off, anytime I moved slightly, it felt like someone was taking a fucking crowbar to the side of my knee. Like the fact I was like, I don't know how I got steps. Those nerve block things are fucking amazing. Like you just don't feel shit. You don't get a weird headache from it. But
yeah,
it's not something
you
can
don't
do
scratch
yourself.
your nose and balls.
Yeah, it was fantastic. After that, it was several weeks of fucking me screaming every time I bumped into something.
I saw where Kyle was making fun of my country accent because I was saying peels instead of peels.
Chamiette is from Kentucky, and her family's from Kentucky, and then from there they moved to North Carolina. So I hear great ways of saying lots of words all the time.
I'm originally from Mississippi, and it's hilarious when we go around my family that's from there because I'm from the bayou area of Mississippi, and so I have to translate when my uncles talk to my wife and kids because they sound a lot more like Farmer Fran from Waterboy than they do anybody from America. And so it could be entertaining sometimes.
I was wondering if G-Ball was still in here. I don't know if he is or not, but what I love about G-Ball's watching his content, besides it's good content, is I love to hear him say button. For some reason to me, because it's always been button, but to hear G-Ball say it, it's like its own word. It's got its inflection. I feel like he's rapping without any other words to rap against when he says button.
That's one thing that I've been excessively made fun of for the past 20 plus years. And my family's from Pennsylvania, and I never lived there. They moved down to Florida, and I was born. But evidently, and I picked this up without ever living, really with my dad for that long. I say hut dog instead of hot dog. I do the HUT. And Chamiette has been making fun of me forever for saying hut dog. And she's like, what the fuck is that? She's like, where? So then she started looking it up, and evidently in some part of Pennsylvania, that's just what they fucking say. So without me ever being around people that said it, I still ended up fucking saying hot dog. Thank you for typing that in there.
I'm having to text on my wrist to my daughter, who is trying to get my Spectrum password because she's a cord pirate. So I apologize, guys. Y'all talk amongst yourselves while I think of a giveaway, and I'm going to send her this login information so she can watch RuPaul.
What's RuPaul's Drag Race on? We saw it the other day advertised on something.
It's on Spectrum, somewhere where she evidently needs cable to watch it.
I thought it was also on Hulu, though. It's either on Hulu or...
Is it Paramount?
I don't know. Because it's advertised a lot on one of the fucking things. Because, yeah, we don't have cable either. We just do all the subscription things.
Which one is it that does Yellowstone?
Is that Peacock?
It may be Peacock then, because my wife watches Yellowstone over and over and over and over. And I know I've seen when she was watching the new episodes, she had to watch with commercials. And when she had to watch it with commercials, I know that I saw the RuPaul Drag Race commercial during one of those
Yeah,
breaks.
a lot of people are saying Paramount, but for some reason I thought I had it advertised on something else. Because I don't think I have Paramount. I have Peacock, Hulu, HBO, Netflix, Shudder. I can't remember what else. But
I don't know what we got.
We've got so many different. And I probably should get that app that I always see that is in my feed that says you need to get this app because it'll go through and tell you what you need to quit paying because you've got so many bills full.
Yeah.
I need that.
I don't want that.
Well,
I don't want to know what I'm paying.
I do, because there's a lot of things that I do not need.
It's one of those things like, I don't watch Netflix every day, but eventually they're going to come out with more Stranger Things or fucking, unfortunately not The Witcher. They fucked The Witcher all to hell by getting rid of fucking goddamn Henry. But, there's other things that are on there. We're still waiting. What the fuck, Mindhunter? Waiting for the third season of fucking Mindhunter to come out on fucking Netflix. But
say I'm waiting on The Last of Us to come out on HBO. And I'm waiting on Fallout to come on Prime.
I agree, Crispy Critter.
I want to see what Fallout and The Last of Us is going to be like.
dude, after a day of after tonight, after I got off doing this with you guys, hanging out, I'm gonna go find some movie to watch. After I got off doing this with you. Oh, I guess that was JuhVon.
That was me. I'm
like, why am I talking to myself?
It's me trying to share a link with my kid.
I mean, what the hell do you fuckers do at nighttime when you're done working? After you eat dinner and after you're done doing everything else, what do you just fucking sit around fucking playing pocket pool?
I usually watch podcasts like Joe Rogan because he's had a guy on today that was talking about hallucinogenic honey, which I thought was odd that he got in Nepal. I don't believe him, but or I will watch YouTube content because for me, because I have ADHD, the last movie, and this is going to sound crazy to you guys, but the last movie I saw in a theater or out was Titanic.
That would make anyone stop watching fucking movies.
But
that was
when I was
1992.
watching like action movies, I cannot keep myself engaged for 2 hours spurts. So I need 15, 30 minutes. I can watch an hour. Like I could get into series back in the day that were an hour, like ER, And the reason I could get into them was because I would wait until next Thursday to see what happened. Once I was able to start binge watching stuff, I learned that that was something I just don't need to do. It's like not healthy. So when I'm not streaming, which is rarely, I'm watching content. And it's not always knife content, but I do watch podcasts and, people's opinion of different stuff that's going on instead of watching just what's going on.
Kyle says, do something productive. What Kyle means is Kyle's going to be in the next live stream, because no matter what time you go on YouTube, if there's a live stream, Kyle is in it.
Kyle is also the moderator extraordinaire, and Kyle is welcome, as is anyone, to jump on and join us. I was really hoping y'all were going to get to meet a shirtless A to Z EDC, who is a guy who's one of our local buddies here, who I hope to, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to utilize some of his knives into some of my observations without carrying his knives.
He won't let you carry his knives.
He won't want me to carry his knives, but how much, like, for example, to share an Evo 3.0 or to share a Koenig Arius flipperless, my opinion of it, is it going to be made that much different by me carrying it for 2 weeks? Probably.
The
Because I do
having-
observations anyway. I don't do cut tests or.
I mean, most of my feel with knives of that nature is you can tell whether you like the way they feel just by initially handling them. Does the handle feel good? Is the size right? I don't know if you would get any more out of carrying it for 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, guys, I was just kidding. Josh, take it easy. First of all, I was directing at Kyle, and I hope he knows I was joking based on all the shit we say on the Monday show.
Anything that you guys hear on any live with the people that you see on screen, it is never personally intended to offend.
Oh, and I called Kyle out directly, but I was joking.
Hey, Pocket Metal.
What's that, man?
I haven't watched a TV show, watched TV at all, or a movie since the last episode of season 6 of The Walking Dead.
I don't know what season 6 was, but we stopped when they were getting ready to kill Glenn. We were like,
that's the first episode of season 7, and I never watched it, and I've never watched it since. And I haven't watched TV since.
Man, walking. Someone else told us. Who was it that was telling us that something else? Like after they finished. Oh, was it Game of Thrones? D2 stopped watching TV after the way they fucked up Game of Thrones. He's like,
before that was the only thing I watched. I would watch that 1 hour, or depending on the episode, because some of them were an hour and a half. I would watch that 1 hour once a week. I just never have watched TV really since I was a kid. It's just something that I'm usually outside, even if it's just as simple as sitting on the back porch like I am right now. Even if I wasn't on here, and I can't because I don't smoke in the house, I would be on the back porch because I don't smoke in the house. And so I've just always sat outside since the 80s.
Hey, Maddie.
When
I look at my my Apple TV, it says that you guys go live at 11:10 my time. Is that right? Do you go live in about an hour?
I can try to find out and see what it says on mine.
I think I'm right because I always try to y'all take a look. I'm going to walk off and see what I've got in the I don't do it in the description because I don't want to bring a bunch of people in for that. But let me find something to give away while you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Don't be bringing back no dirty underwear.
Don't worry. The shade's not here.
That's something that I think we all could, really use.
Well, there is a market for it, I'm sure. I've heard of people making a lot of money selling their dirty panties, so John might could sell his dirty underwear.
I think he could.
That could be a side venture to support his knife habit.
Oh, fucking shit. That's so messed up. But yeah, so I mean, that's just me, I guess. When I'm done working at night, and it's usually after midnight, that's what I do. I'll sit down and watch TV for a couple hours to like help my brain just fucking. I don't know.
That's what my wife does. It's a way. Like she makes fun of me because I'm always trying to learn something. Whether even if it's about knives, which is the obvious thing. I'm always watching some form of a documentary about something. But most of it I watch on YouTube, so it's really not any different today because
Crazy Shark's going to be live in 30 minutes. I just got a notification.
I could technically watch YouTube on my TV. I just don't.
That's what I do.
I either watch it on my phone or I watch it on my tablet, a tablet. So technically, I do watch TV. It's just I watch mostly YouTube documentaries. And then I've thought about getting some of those other science-based documentary apps and watching those.
That's what I'm saying. I need undies without holes too. I'm gonna have to go buy some and then keep them away from my little girls because they always want to climb in there and chew my underwear.
Because they're gonna give you modifications anyway.
That's right. The pair of underwear I'm wearing right now have 50 fucking little mini holes in them. There's one pair that I don't even know. We just keep them because it's funny. It's like barely touching the elastic. It's like this much holding the elastic to the cotton part of the fucking underwear because they just fucking destroyed the shit out of them. I have a video I'll show on Monday of them desecrating my underwear. I mean, it's fucking hilarious the way that they get in my pants when I'm taking a shit and just go to town on it.
And you don't have video footage of that?
No, I said I have a video I'll show you on Monday of them doing that. Fucking sitting there in my, you're when your pants are dropped and your underwear are down and your legs are spread, there's that like little pocket and there's a prairie dog just fucking rooting and tooting down inside of that fucking thing, just ripping the shit out of my underwear and my jeans.
Pocket metal takes prairie dog into a whole nother level.
Those prairie dogs are, I'll just leave it at that. They are awesome.
Yeah, they're sweet.
Lulu and
Dottie. Yeah.
I was trying to go backwards. See, I was trying to make my brain remember by mixing them up, and it screwed me up anyway.
It happens.
Do you guys all remember this knife?
I've seen it before, but I don't know that I remember. Oh, okay, yeah.
This is probably one of the best Civivi knives, one of the earliest Civivi knives. Hollow grind. This particular one has an action on it. It's a flipper only, full-size knife with a little choil here. But I would be happy to give this guy away. And it's one that I did a video on not too long ago. I bought this knife probably 2 years ago. This is when I was first started collecting knives. Remember when we were talking earlier, I think my first knife was a CEO, CRKT CEO was the first knife I bought when I was back into it. But this Civivi Backlash was one of the first 20 knives that I bought when I was collecting knives again. So it's cut paper. It's been carried some, but it's not been abused. and it is a good knife. Now, you'll notice that it's got smuts on it. I use my shit, like Erica would say. But I would clean it up. I would put it in a Civivi bag. If you guys would be interested, before we get out of here, taking this knife.
Do you see what Chaz said about Brant?
I got to get my comments up where I can see them. See, I'll get on to one thing.
Says Brant, I wonder what kind of knife you carry today. Give me an H and I'd like to buy a Val.
This is what I carry today, and then we'll do a pocket check. But I carried my blacked out, which is not my normal jam, but on this knife, it just has been. I love it. And this is the Renegade Provisions God of Mischief. And I won't let it crack my fingernail, but it will drop. What'd you carry today? Pocket metal?
So me and Ian did a little swap the other day because someone sent him the Petrified Fish Victor blacked out, and I had the blue one. And so we traded because his son likes blue, so he was going to give it to his son. But I didn't. That wasn't what I carried per se. But he also sent me this interesting little Tucson, and this thing is definitely. He asked me.
I'm going to make you big for just a second because that's.
It reminds me of the Hellraiser kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's got kind of that back end of a.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, the milling is, it's Tucson, so they do all kind of crazy milling. The carbon fiber looks awesome. It's
symmetrical.
Yeah, and it's a sub frame lock, as Patina told me is the right way to. So you could call it a liner lock, but if you look at how big that liner is, it's just because it's the titanium frame, and it has a very thin carbon fiber overlay. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something that I would have picked myself as a knife, but it's an interesting, kind of cool little thing. It's a very different look for sure.
Well, that's one of my favorite things about Tucson.
Yeah, they don't mind doing something crazy, and their milling is freaking. I'm guessing this was like if it's $100 or over $100, it's not that much over. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
14C 28N blade steel. Even if it was D2, it wouldn't matter. I don't mind either one of those.
And the quality, you can't say is not there when you look at.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The construction, the milling, even the blade steel. When you take that into consideration, the value is undeniable.
Like I said before, everything works left-handed, so you left-handed people stop bitching.
You've been forced with your newly acquired handicap.
Yes, and even the pocket clips got. I mean, I'm sure this doesn't show up, but even the pocket clips got milling on it. The little lines, kind of like in a V pattern on there. But yeah, very nicely done for what. Who knows how much it costs, but definitely a cool little knife.
Is it an integral?
No, okay. It's not. Has the titanium backspacer with the little lanyard loopy thing there that you could put on there if you wanted.
That's one thing about this is probably the least backspacer of any of my Tucsons. Most of them, they're not integrals, but they have, I'd say, 3/4 backspacer at least all the time.
Some of them, yeah, are pretty long. But yeah, I mean, I think I caught that earlier. For the money, I don't think you can really go wrong with Tucsons for the most part. And I had watched. It was funny. Earlier today, I saw that Edgeless American was doing a little talk about blade steel. And he had said something about, oh, if you're buying a Tucson and the M390 is crap, but he also like talked about Jared Neves. From what I remember, Jared Neves testing and Tucson M390, he said it may not be the best, but it was still better than, a lot of the lesser steels. And when you're buying a Tucson and an M390, you're probably still getting it for super fucking cheap.
And your expectations, at least my realistic expectations, are a little lower. And
Yeah.
a great example is all I can do is use my knives the way I use them, which is different than other people. And it's cutting cardboard. I used to have that because there was somebody in my life who bought a lot of stuff off Amazon, and I would go break down boxes every Sunday, and I'd take my little VanQuest pack with different knives so I could just enjoy cutting cardboard. But all of my Tucson knives, this is one that's one of my favorite, and I think it's in 14C. But this
I guess I just froze up.
This is the 319.
I like that thing, but it's so thick.
It's very thick.
For such a little knife, it's such a wide, chunky boy.
It is a little chunk, but I mean, I think for some reason Colin's design language, Mason Pierre, really speaks to me because I've got, I want to say, probably over in excess of 22 sons over the years, and this little one came to me late, and it's because Grateful Panic had actually picked up the micarta version of this one long after it had made the reviews and everybody talked about what a great knife it was. But I've been very impressed by everything that this knife offers, from its cutability to it when I sharpened it, retaining a very, very, this is my edge on it. Again, I know that means nothing because I could be cutting bones or whatever we cut with our stuff.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy putting edges on my stuff, right? So I enjoy sharpening, even though I only do it with the fixed system, but I can tell the difference in a crummy steel and a not so crummy steel. And I've not ever been, for any given amount of time, dissatisfied with Tucson. Again, the heat treat, I'm not putting them to their extent of what they're capable of.
Yeah, you can get some amazing shit. Like, especially if you're buying a knife. Like, I mean, a lot of the stuff is, people always act like everything's going to be a fucking hard use knife. Like, really, if you're collecting knives, is everything that you have fucking being hard used? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Everything I own is not being anywhere close to hard used. So what you can get for the money, especially, and the one I was looking for I can't find, but even on this thing, like this little grandpa, that's a fucking amazing knife for under $100. Milled bolster, nice. It's a fucking bolster lock there. You can finger flick it off the little thing there. Left-handed, even. Left-handed. Stop bitching.
Dwayne Letterman.
So yeah, I think this was like 70 something, $80 I got it for, and
it's a great little knife.
C28N. But yeah, the other one, which I don't know what the hell I did with it, it's floating around here somewhere on my desk, is got like amazing milling on it. It looks like a little, it looks like a Barlow shape. It's not a Barlow, but it's very similar to that like outline, and the milling's fucking fantastic on it for something that's under $100.
This is one of the biggest surprises that I got for under $100, and somebody brought it to my attention as being overbuilt like a Medford because it's on washers.
Yeah.
But this knife, it's in stock right now on White Mountain Knives. I think it's an anode version, but that's the backspacer. It's a night morning design.
Yeah, it's a big, chunky, beefy knife for sure.
A huge, huge, chunky knife. And the only downside, and people say, well, it's D2. Well,
so what?
Yeah, I mean, I think I could stick it through a car door just as easily. And this knife was $99 before I put in Lefty 10 or Tri-State or Love Them Knives or somebody's discount code. And I'm sorry, but I love my Medford knives. I love my Hinderer knives. But this is a honking big knife for anybody that's looking for something big that I think is quality.
And under $90.
Under $90 on washers.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That is an interesting up camera shot there.
I don't even know what we're looking at, but I think it's interesting. I know a part of it's a ceiling fan.
I think the other part's like a cup, like a big gulp or
I'll
something.
tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a way to do a giveaway real quick while I'm just jumping to another window here to go StreamYard.
I think Mattisfaction was asking you what the name of the knife was that you were showing. Or maybe
that is the Tucson TS 346. And It is on White Mountain Knives right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think the price starts off at like $89, but then you add your code in and you get like, $8 or whatever off. And
yeah, I haven't had one StreamYard giveaway tool. Boom. They make it so weird to find this.
What did I do with that knife the other day?
We've still got our interesting view. I was making sure we didn't lose that while I'm over here looking for this.
I'm back.
All right. Here's how it works. StreamYard broadcast. Open a StreamYard giveaway tool.
And I still think, so it looks like they are actually made by the same company. The Trivisa or however you say that, and Petrified Fish. The pivots are almost identical, like size and the hardware. And the micarta is identical, pretty much. Pocket clips are different, but this little, very, very fucking pointy. This thing's a handy little package opener with that,
That's a splinter remover too.
Yeah, this is an awesome little thing for, right around $50. So if you are on a budget and you don't mind, I think this is 14C. So it's not bad. micarta 14C, $50.
Awesome.
Snappy little fucker. And if you are good, even though it's just a flipper thing, sometimes, there you go. You can finger flick it off the blade. And that was left-handed. You whiny bastards.
All right, I'm getting ready to share my screen, and then I'm going to start collecting comments because I forget. I need to start collecting comments before I tell them what to put in, right, Pocket Metal? Because that'll show the big. Okay.
Yeah, you put it in the thing and hit collect, and then you can share it, and then people will know what to type in.
Got it. And this is going to be for a Civivi backlash with carbon fiber. They call it carbon fiber, but it's a carbon fiber on top of G10. But it's a great knife. It stayed in my collection. Tell me when you guys can see my screen.
There you go. I think you spelled something wrong. What's that supposed to mean?
Okay, I can respell it.
I thought it was called dead fraction.
Well, that's the way I'm spelling it. So any of you guys that want an opportunity to win this knife, throw hashtag said faction the way I spelled it because I'm an idiot.
Oh man, I almost said I thought it was sad fat kid.
I would never do that.
I'm so fucked up.
That is funny. But that's where we should all go after this, guys, when we get finished here. And I'm not kicking anybody out. Gary, good to see you, brother. I haven't been communicating with the chat because I've been focusing on my brother Dark Gravity and Pocket Metal's words of encouragement.
That's going to be my next live stream name is Sad Fat Kid.
Maddie, you are a gigantic teddy bear of a man. And I can say that because I've seen you in person.
Oh man, oh man, what? Did you play? What?
I'm gonna let y'all continue to put that in there.
Do it for Josh, since he had to
And
leave.
Brand, I'll throw the link up there in a second, but we're gonna be jumping out of here in just a little bit because of said faction.
I love that, chunky but funky.
Satisfaction, your hugs are huge, brother. I appreciate that.
I was not trying to. I was just saying it because it almost looked like it could sound like that, and it was funny. So
I think I spelled it right, didn't I? I mean, I'll definitely second guess myself till the cows come home.
Oh yeah, I think it's. I was just joking. I was just being stupid.
It almost looks like something you'd see in Al Jazeera.
Oh no!
As a headline, the said faction. All right, guys, I am going to give it another third. We'll give it 60 seconds here because I'd love for as many people to jump in as would like to. And then I'm going to throw my email right
Maddie said it was spelled right. Never ask me if something's spelled right, by the way. I am fucking horrible.
I'm terrible at it. If it wasn't for a spell check, people would know my ignorance.
I trust my phone far too much, and it's led me astray way too many times.
So whoever wins this can either reach out to me via email at that kniveslive2021@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram.
You have to follow him on Instagram.
You have to be 18. We're only shipping, since it's a knife, to the continental U.S. So hopefully it'll be somebody we know here, and I won't have to verify ages and get in trouble because we want to make sure that everybody's legit. So I'm going to give it about 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. I'm getting ready to push straw. Anybody else got a said faction you want to put in there? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, he was able to count.
That's impressive.
Matthew Sawinski. The man, the myth, the legend. Are you in here, Matt?
I'm guessing they were at some point.
I'm assuming he was about 30 or 45 seconds ago.
I know.
At 8:19, there was a comment.
Well, Matthew, just shoot me, and I'm going to stop sharing. Boop.
Hey, look, there I am.
Y'all keep catching me yawning.
And if you would, I want to catch that image you left us with. It looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
You talking about
Congratulations, Matthew Swinsky. Shoot me an email, brother, at kniveslive2021@gmail.com, or you can just message me your address on Instagram, and I will get this out to you with some stickers, and may find some other swag to throw in there for you. But I appreciate you being here. But I do need your address. You can just reach out to me on IG or I'll put it in here again.
when I stepped away earlier, that was the light on the ceiling fan.
But there was something else that was there too.
Was it like a big gulp cup?
Oh, it's a cup from Whataburger.
That's what it was. We had a very interesting perspective of that Whataburger cup.
No, I'd run inside to get my only Tucson. I only have one, and I got it. The only reason I was able to get it was JuhVon.
Which one do you have?
It's the TS219. I've been wanting it forever, and talking about it on lives and asking anybody if they have one. And by the time I could go get it, or by the time it showed up when I didn't have no money. Sorry, my visuals suck. I gotta get a light and my laptop set up where I can actually see the chat and be a better participator. But
You're a great participator, man.
I have a thing for compound grinds, and that's and symmetry. I don't like titanium knives that are only have if it has a scale and the scale is only on one side and not on the other, it kind of bothers me. But yeah, I chased this thing for like 8 months. And unfortunately, it's only 14C 28N, but it is one of the pricier Tucsons. I don't know why. I don't know.
There's one now that's been going like hitting close to 200.
Yeah, 250. It's like 237. The one that's got the handle that looks kind of like this, but it has a much bigger blade with a hole in it.
Yeah.
M390. I've seen that one too.
That's a beastly looking knife. I hope they step the card up.
G-Ball, what are you hunting, buddy?
There's a full tie version that's
Kaiser Escort
in the 300s that's going for close to $300. A full tie Tucson. It's got some crazy milling jig looking pattern in it. And it seems like it's going for $275, $285 or something like that.
I mean, we used to get Tucsons and still can at a great price, but they're worth what they're asking for a lot of them. I'm convinced that they're
that one that you have that we like that you have. It's got like that rainbow anodization on it, and
this is the best.
They have the plain gray version of that, and you can hit it for like under $100 now.
This is a great knife, guys. M390. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah, they have one like that doesn't have the ano, but it's just like a dark.
And I would love to have it without the ano because you can't see the milling, but the milling they do on this is so good.
Right. Usually your best bet with a Tucson is to do the auctions to get the best price. eBay. Unless it's a really hot, if it's a really hot one, then it may still go up. But a lot of your best bet to get the best price is to get in on the auctions on eBay. They usually go, if you do the buy now, there'll be X amount of dollars. If you do the auction, you may save 40 or 50 bucks. So a lot of times that's your best bet if you've got the patience.
Yeah.
But if it's a really rare one, or really one that's fairly new but really hot because it's just the new hotness, then you may not be successful with the auction.
Yeah, but we learned how quickly that fades because remember how much Vandals were going for that short time there before that fucking drop came out. The ones loved them knives.
Yeah. They were going crazy.
Yeah, on the secondary they were going crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
But I mean, a lot of the stuff does, and then it just kind of relaxes. But get what you like.
Gary's saying that guests are supposed to do gauze too.
I don't have anything I'm willing to let go. Yeah. I'm not even willing to sell it.
You're barking up the wrong tree there, Gary.
I keep saying I need to sell some stuff.
I'll never turn my back on Gary.
I need to sell some stuff, but can't even bring myself to do that.
I sold it last week. That's it.
Gary, you will never be asked to do anything in my lives, my friend. Just the fact that you're here is a gift enough for me. You don't have to like anything. You don't have to donate anything. You don't have to tell me I'm good. You don't have to do anything like that. Just love the fact that you're here.
If we get 200 likes, there might be another giveaway.
No, I don't do that. There might be another giveaway because I'm going to say, hey, guys, guess what we'll do? We'll do one more giveaway.
I was only saying that because of, some other fun channels out there.
I know. And I will not ever, because one of my things in 2023 is to be a kinder, gentler John. So you'll never hear anything negative from me, but you will see distinctions, hopefully, keep me honest. Okay, Matisfaction, that's interesting to me personally. Where is it?
Trying to sell you Nimble. I ain't seen it up on Instagram or anywhere available.
Well, because he's not doing it yet. I think he's giving somebody here a little getting too much use.
I keep saying I want to sell my Malibu, and I hadn't sold it yet.
I sold my Malibu, and if I was you, I wouldn't sell it.
The only reason I would sell it is it's too small, and I never carry it. It's never been carried at all. I bought it at the knife show, and it's been in this little sock that it comes in the box ever since. And I've got a couple other knives in the case that I couldn't even tell you what they are. And that's how bad it is. And it's like, if you can't even tell without going and getting the case and looking in it, why have it if you don't even know what it is and why you've got it?
That's a great point. We're going to do another giveaway, guys.
This guy up here needs to stop saying the things he's saying. That sounds hate-filled.
They blackmailed you. They guilt-tripped you.
No, you're not. It's just I've gone to this other screen now, so it looks like I'm a million miles away, as I am usually. But I've got to get back to where my tool is.
Your left pocket.
We don't want to see your tool, John.
Well, I didn't show you guys because I didn't do everybody's pocket check, but I showed you what I carried today, but I didn't show you the extent of it. So I always carry one of my little MKMs on my belt because these are the greatest knives ever. And then in my left pocket, because I knew pocket metal would be here, my Broker Barlow BFF that looks nothing like a Barlow.
The silhouette does. It just doesn't have a bolster.
No, it does not have a bolster.
That's his old hickory paring knife with my cardinals.
All right, let me get back to my giveaway tool for giveaway number 2, and I'll show you what we're giving away.
Hi, Ian.
Uh-oh. Is Ian here?
He's down there. I saw him say hi. He said
hello. Hi, Ian.
What's up, Ian?
I'm not able to find what I found earlier. Here it is. Let's see if this brings it up. All right. All right. Take me there. No, that's not.
Conrad, what the hell are you saying?
I'm not sharing my screen. I'm trying to get back to my giveaway tool. And I'm not finding the link I found before that takes me to what I get to put my B up, which is going to be our word, but I've got to find it. Give me a second.
Oh, boy.
Hey, we're having fun. Or maybe we won't have a giveaway.
Technology always betrays you.
All right, I'm going over here again, and I'm going to put it in just like I did before.
Put it in, John. Put it in.
I'm putting it in slowly, surely.
Give away your tool.
Let me
And put
know
it
when
in.
you can feel it. All right, so this should open up. No, I don't want that open up. All right. Interesting. I can't get back to where I was. I just found it. All right, everybody chill.
You just settle the fuck down now.
In a new tab, open up this motherfucker right here.
Whoa.
And then I'm going to put in what we're going to call it.
Hashtag Big Dick Boy. JuhVon.
I'm sharing now.
There's that fucker.
And then I'm going to show you what we're going to give away.
Mark says the winner gets to play with JuhVon's tool.
Anytime they want to, and as often as possible.
Well, just so everybody knows, John is sponsored by Trojan Magnum Condoms.
Oh shit!
And your pleasure's not necessarily what I'm focused on.
Honesty.
Can
y'all see this little knife?
He did a video the other day where he was talking about sponsors, people giving him knives and this, that, and other. He's talking about how he buys his own knives that he reviews. And I told him, I said that he knows all of his videos are sponsored by Trojan Magnum Condoms.
They would go broke. G-Ball, I think you've got to put it in. Maybe it's not cap sensitive, but feel free to put it in there again.
I think it is. From what I've seen.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
cap sensitive, go back in there and get it right.
Yeah,
capital B, little U, or little E, capital U, little P. I can't even spell.
Yes, if it doesn't look just like the screen, fix it.
Yep.
Matt says it's not cap sensitive, but I swear that there was an issue before where it seemed like it was. I don't fucking know.
Anybody else want to jump in there? I'm going to start counting backwards. I see somebody just jumped in there.
Did you do it?
I've been in other lives where they said that it has to look exactly the same as whatever they put in.
Yeah, and this is for the Damn Designs. I don't know if this is the Oni or the Gin. It's the Tanto version, Tanto. But it is little, and it is flickable.
Do it for Josh again.
It's got the little rooster head here.
Tonto was the Lone Ranger's partner.
Okay, that is Tanto. So we've got 29 entries. I'm going to give us 10, 9, 8,
12,
7,
2,
11,
5,
10,
16,
9,
42,
8,
39,
7, boom.
8. Someone here can't count.
E&G just went by.
There you go.
Darth BMX.
So either he fixed it. Oh, yeah, he did. Right there. I see it.
Awesome. Congratulations, Darth.
Congratulations, Darth.
So shoot me. Let me put my email here in the or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, whichever's easiest.
Jan, Tanto. It's what you get when you're wearing sandals.
I'm really disappointed Shane didn't come to defend himself. There's several things I'd like to call him on. Congratulations, Steven Ott or Darth BMX.
You say there were some things you wanted to call Shane on?
Just jokingly about freeze dried panties.
I must have missed freeze dried panties. I
I missed the freeze dried panties. So
I thought you were talking about what he put out before the video from today. He did a little mini live that I missed.
I've got to go back and watch that.
That's the one where he's on his rant about knife steel and the HRC and shit. But what's funny is, so like he was talking about, and I don't know anything about this shit, about MagnaCut being like 63, 64 is what he was saying that it should be at. Fucking, I was looking at MBK, Monterey Bay Knives. Their ZDP is at like 66, 67.
Yeah.
Is what they're doing their HRC at. So why the fuck does everyone give two shits about that if you're wanting something that's like longer edge wear and shit? It seems like ZDP is fucking better than MagnaCut. Now I don't know how tough it is as far as that is concerned.
The way MBK does their ZDP 189, it's actually really tough because they do it in a sand mine.
Yeah.
They put a soft steel on the outside because ZDP is actually very brittle. So is Maximet and Rex 121 are very brittle. But they're like super hard steels. Like Maximet is 67, and I think Rex 121 can get up to like close to 70. But the whole deal, it's really a really deep dive. All of your different steels have different peak hardness, where their hardness and toughness and all that stuff kind of lines up where you get the best of each world. It may not be as tough as it can be, but it's like at a certain level of toughness with a certain level of edge retention. And according to Laren, with MagnaCut, that's 63 to 64 Rockwell. Now, it's not going to cut as well as ZDP 189 for as long, but it's going to be a lot tougher than ZDP 189, but still cut good. And it's that balance, and different steels have different ideal ranges to meet those certain things.
Yeah.
And I get where some people's coming from, but to me, a lot of it is, overblown. Because
I mean, that's Mark. And honesty, not to cut you off. He says Shane was also talking about YouTubers being dishonest. I kind of started that shit last Monday, and my thing was take everything with a grain of salt, especially when people aren't buying the shit that they're talking about. If they're
exactly
getting
right
free and they're telling you how great it is and it's the best thing ever, and they're not only are they getting it for free, but they only get those products when they're being given them, and they're not actually willing to put their money into it, then how fucking great could that thing be? Or maybe they're just, hey, I don't have to pay for it unless they give it to me for free. But it's one of those things that I think that they should at least say, hey,
I agree,
for free, or this is a loaner, I didn't buy it, but I'm sending it on to whatever, like the pass around groups do. But yeah, I think it's something that people should be aware of.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell it to you like I feel it, and I'm going to let these guys tell you. I will only share with you things that interest me, no matter how small this channel stays or how big it gets. That's never going to change. I'm not into it for anything else. I'm in it for the community and giving you honest opinions. Now, my opinions, when I've got people like Dark Gravity and Pocket Metal that can talk about things that I know nothing about, I want to bring people like that always around to help you make the right decisions. But always use skepticism when you're out there. Look at a lot of different reviewers, find what you like, do what I did. I made some mistakes, and from that you'll find out who to listen to and who not. But you can always reach out to any of us on here, send us a DM. We'll try to lead you down a road that we would have gone down. But I appreciate you all. I'm going to turn it over to Dark Gravity, see if he's got any parting words before we go to said faction.
No, I mean, with what we were talking about and kind of what Pocket Metal was saying is, like, look for the truth in individuals, you know, and I'll just use Pocket Metal as an example. You know, his love for traditional pocket knives, he's a great resource for that. But no, that's what he loves. He's not going to give, I mean, not that he doesn't give good reviews on or talk highly about other knives, but if his heart is in traditionals, so he's probably the best resource that I know of. Actually, he is the best resource I know of on Great Eastern cutlery pocket knives. And so if there's something I want to know, that's who I'm going to listen to. He doesn't have an agenda. That's just what he loves. He puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, I'm not trying to that. I'll definitely never try to sell you that, because the last thing I want is more competition.
yeah, that's true. But you know, they're knives that are difficult to get, so that's definitely true. But it's like he said, if you know somebody is constantly getting things for free and hasn't put their money where their mouth is, then that's something that you have to watch and you have to recognize. If you're not willing to buy knives on your own, and it, you know, whether it's $50 knives or $500 knives, if you're not willing to step up and put your own money out there, then you probably aren't a great resource. You know, that's the thing about John, is every knife that he has talked about has been his own. Now he has said that, you know, he's, you know, thought about getting a hold of some of A to Z's, and he may try to get a hold of some of mine, and that's fine. But the thing is he'll tell you that. He'll be like, hey, this is, you know, my buddy's knife, and I'm borrowing it, and just to get a feel for it and check it out. Like the Walter Wells that I carried today, John's seen it, but he's never carried it. He's never played with it, really. You know, and if he decided he wanted to do that, you know, and review the knife, then he could. But he's going to tell you that. He's going to say, hey, this is Dark Gravity's knife. I'm just checking it out. This is what it is, and go from there. But I'll go ahead and tell you, one of the best knives you can buy for the money is a Walter Wells custom knife. You got to wait about 3 or 4 months to get it, but it's worth it.
Don't do it. I wanted to get one of those, and I was on the waiting list, and then I ended up buying something else. That's something I do need to get back with that guy. He was letting me design something, and so we had talked about that and shit. And yeah, he's a super nice guy.
They're the nicest knives. I mean, understated elegance, chef's kiss.
What he does with open L's is fucking amazing too.
Yeah.
Those things look fucking badass. His open L conversions are fucking awesome. So, you know, and some people be like, why would you pay over $100 for an open L? Well, it looks fucking badass.
Over $100 for an open L. You're paying for the modifications and the one of a kind.
Exactly.
He offers.
Exactly. It's badass. And yeah, so speaking on that, Kyle said Pocket Metal does reviews. Technically, no. I did do videos for a while in the beginning before I started just doing live streams. And it's basically me rambling about shit that I would get, just talking about it, comparing it to other things I had, or just showing, you know, some of the Great Eastern cutlery knives that I was getting in at the time, and kind of talking about those. But it kind of was taking up a lot of time, me doing that kind of shit, and did decide to just do Mondays. And whenever when I get stuff in, I'll just talk about it on that fucking Monday, and kind of, instead of doing like specific videos about stuff like that. So that way I can just have my Monday, do my stream, and that's it. And then you may see me on JuhVon's or, you know, something like that every once in a blue moon. But yeah, it's not, I wasn't trying to like harp on that. It's just one of those things that at the time was just kind of driving me nuts is people's desire or what have you to kind of push or try to sell things to people because that company's giving them shit for free, and that has always rubbed me wrong. But whatever.
Well, because the community, the way I look at it, and the reason I think any of us here will answer any questions that any of you guys there have, is the community is sacred to me. It's a bunch of people that are kind of like a tribe. And, I think
Yeah, for sure.
anything that I say about a knife, even though I've got a very small audience, is going to affect a lot of people. But I look at it just how it affects me, and I'm real clear about that. So if you're watching reviews that claim to be other than that, just, use other sources, be objective, right? But as objective as you can.
Yeah. And like I've said before, the only thing I've ever hard used is a knife you can't fucking buy. So what's the point of fucking telling people about it? Because not only, I mean, it's so far beyond purchase because the guy stopped making knives.
But Pocket Metal, just on that same point, you sharing knives that you've come in contact with, might get somebody passionately starting to go after what they can now start to get.
Right. And I'll tell you how I feel about something. I definitely don't fucking, step around anything on any level as far as if I think something fucking sucks.
And that's the great thing about it, guys. We can always debate it here. We can debate it on DMs, but, just always reach out to somebody if they rub you the wrong way. See if you can make it right.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of the times you can. The other 0.1, you can go flame style. It's all good. The community's got your back, but I'm going to let everybody go so we can get over to said faction. Pocket Metal, thank you, brother. You're always welcome here. Dark Gravity, your wealth of information, you're always welcome here. And I promise you I'll get some more misfits next week, and we'll have a good time. I appreciate every single one of you. Look out for the guy to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. I love you all. Peace.
No doubt. Good night!